Tiramos el sal que está pendiente de la cita. Está malvada y quien la ve tan bonita. Estoy pa' ti siempre, beba. Bebamos la noche entera. Dame, baby, nos fugamos tú y yo en la noche. Que eres independiente y se te ve. Yo lo sé que tienes interés, baby, llámame, baby, nos fugamos. Un mensaje mío, ya mismo te pones bien elegante, yeah. Lo que yo sí he creído, pero lo que hago contigo en la noche es arte, yeah. Quieres la llama cuando tienes frío, al menos chica eres muy sensata. Te vas cuando tus padres están dormidos y lista pa' perrear, bebé, a los sata, yeah. Baby, nos fugamos tú y yo en la noche. Que eres independiente y se te ve, yo lo sé. Tienes interés, baby, llámame, baby, nos fugamos. 1, 2, 3, comienza la acción. Ella es fanática de la atención. Canta a pulmón justo esa canción que le cambió toda la dirección. Ya que ese ex no quiere más, no quiere llanto, no quiere nada. Quiere gozarla, quiere escapar de lo que era su realidad. Ya no está puesta para el drama, lo que quiere es gozar, no pecar.
Hello, everyone. This is Wanda, your host of Salty Coffee. I don't know, it sounds too loud. Okay, maybe I should do this. This sounds a little bit better. How's everyone doing today? Today is June 22nd, the second day of summer, and it is freezing cold in New York City. We've had a awesome springtime, no heat, no humidity. I mean, perfect hair days. And now it's just beginning to have some rainy days, but it's still chilly. We still have to wear sweaters or a light jacket, and I'm loving every minute of it. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit more about retirement and how to retire at an early age and why you should retire at an early age. Most of the things that are happening now, there's a transition with money in the United States and globally. So I think it's important for us as 50-year-olds to make sure that we understand that money is going to be the essential learning curve, if you will, for those who are transitioning from the workplace into retirement. One of the things that I've learned in the 33 years that I have at my place of employment is that I am just so happy that I started from day one the learning process of investing. So I think it's important, and the message here tonight is for young people and also people, if you're in your 40s or 50s, to understand the concept of early retirement and why it's important to stay healthy throughout your working age, why it's important to enjoy your work wages, why it's important to eat healthy, to keep a rhythm that's consistent throughout your career or workplace, and also understand that not so much family comes first, but you have to come first. So a lot of people in the United States have been killed at work. They've been traumatized in their workplace. They've had many incidents where they've had to leave early or leave on a disability. So I think it's important for, I don't know what's going to happen with generation, the millennials and generation, I believe is alpha now, but it's not going to be the same. What I heard the other day was that we're no longer, we shouldn't be retiring at 62. There's going to come a time where we should be retiring earlier than that. Can you, by for those who are on Stereo app, can you please send a heart if you can hear me? And for those of you on YouTube and Facebook, hello. Hi, Lulu. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Please make sure you invite your mom to this talk because I think, okay, perfect. Thank you. Do I sound like I'm echoing or do I sound like I'm far away? Throw some tomatoes on stereo. And I'm still trying to, I don't know, it's just been amazing 2 months. The last time I was officially on was in April, and that last message was thank you. That last message was with Generation X versus Millennials, which was a talk with my daughter, my youngest daughter. And speaking of youngest daughter, as I was saying, I don't think that the new um millennials and generation X, their workforce is totally different, it's totally changing. It's not going to be the same for those who were through baby boomers and generation X. Baby boomers were the frontline people who created the whole investing and 401ks and all of that type of investing portfolios, so that if you were unable to do that, if you were working all your life and you weren't able to learn or have an open door where someone would mentor you to learn and understand what that means, it's very unfortunate. And one of the things that I really put myself into in creating this podcast was to ensure that people who actually work a job, whether that be with a public sector or any job where you're in a union or you probably even in a union but don't even know, that you are actively getting information, asking questions about your retirement plan and how you can contribute and learn how to invest and trade within your portfolio that you're going to have at work. I am not a professional human resources person. I'm not a professional finance person. I'm just here to share with you what I learned 33 years ago, where I can now comfortably retire at 55 with where I'm going to go through today with options. And I think that's one of the things that people don't really understand, that, oh, what do you mean you can leave now? Like, what do you mean? People just look at me like, what? I think you really need to plan it. Like, you should take 10 years to plan your retirement plan. And if you're 55 now, you should really work on how to get that done and not be able and not try to put yourself into the catch up phase, what they call catch up. There's a lot of people who started working late. They didn't start working at 20 in a place that, like myself, in a place that had those benefits available. A lot of people also, um, at a younger age, they focus too much on the money, the salary, because they're thinking, okay, the salary is the thing. When they're not looking at the overall package regarding your fringe benefits. I don't know if that term is even used anymore. Fringe benefits are those benefits that you acquire outside of your salary and your wages. So aside from your wages, if your company matches your retirement plan, that's awesome. That's a benefit because if you contribute $200, they're going to match it and contribute an additional 200. That will help you to retire earlier or to make sure that you have some form of funds available that once you leave that position, you can be vested and remove yourself, and wherever you work at new, you can follow it through there. So I think it's important for us to really seek and research this information so that you're not killing yourself, right? To provide for your family. And then you realize that, oh my God, What do I do now? Now I have medical condition where I'm gonna have to work until 62. Or, I have college tuition to pay. And now I gotta work until I'm 82 to finish paying the loans. These are the things that we need to really think about when we are in a position to take care of our children and in a position to pay attention to what our goals are. If your goal is to be a parent, right? A mother, let's say, and you really need to take these things into consideration and understand that you really need to plan based on how the economy is running now. You really need to learn and research and do as much as you can to understand that just because you decided to become a parent and you're a mother, that you will need to know what to do in case your spouse or the other parent is not there to support you on if anything happens. So retiring early is the best thing that I planned in my entire life, and I think I'm going to pursue more research. And tonight we're going to talk about places where you can remove yourself from the United States and go into another country. And I'm going to give you the list of the top world's countries to best retire in. But before I do that, I want to announce the P2G networks. Um, their classes are going to start in July. One of the courses that I will be performing is the Canva design, digital design course through them. Go to p2gnetworks.com and you will go onto the website just to register. The courses for the my course will be held on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. What I want you to do is to just go to p2gnetworks.com. You can find them here on stereo, Breakfast with the Thomases, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, they are here on stereo, Breakfast with the Thomases, and they're amazing. Their talks here on stereo focuses on how you can take anything like the food that you eat, the medication that you take, your information. They have a status correction course, they have financial literacy courses, they have cyber security courses. So they're getting the courses together for the summer. And I want you to go to p2gnetworks.com and just go ahead and sign up and register. There's no fee right now, and I don't think the calendar is there, but please make sure that you submit your information and your email address to make sure that you take advantage of the blockchain learners. And P2G education with application is pretty much what they do. So just like the Salty Coffee podcast, I'm not a professional at podcasting. I'm not a professional I'm here to give information to share what I've been doing for 33 years at the place that I work at and retiring early. So let me just share that on YouTube and Facebook, their website. So here on the top left, you're going to see click here to enter the P2G Meta office. So, one of the things that we're working on with P2G is to teach people how to gain information and how to log into the metaverse. The metaverse is a beautiful place. Same thing you do here, it's the same thing that you can do in the metaverse. And I'll show you my metaverse space where if you go to spatial.io. And you search for salty coffee meditation room. That meditation space is the space that you can go into at any time. There's no cost. It's free for a 3-minute meditation session. And sometimes I'm there, and that's a place where you can go just to relax, just music, and you can have a seat here and just sit down, and you'll hear the music while you're in this room. Um, and this is another thing that P2G Networks teaches. I learned how to do this from them. It's not difficult, it's very easy, but they have the information. You can also go all the way to the back, right here, and here it will take you to the P2G um, Wall Street Meta Party, which they changed the name. I believe is P2G Networks. Oh, they still have it as P2G. So here's where the P2G courses will be taken. Um, we had a party here on April 1st. It was amazing. Actually, I think it was changed to April 15th. April 15th, yeah. So this is awesome, and you can always stop by here when you go to their page. And to go into the courses that they have now, if you want to register now, you click on this part, this section here of their website. And this is another metaverse space. It's a little different. And and here you'll see the courses that you want to sign up. Introduction to crypto, small businesses in the metaverse, Wrapped in Crypto. Wrapped in Crypto is also available on YouTube, and Wrapped in Crypto is amazing. They last night's talk was with the person Truth Brother, and he talks about status correction, and that was amazing. Amazing talk. They have great people. Wrapped in Crypto is conversations about cryptocurrency. And what they do with P2G Networks is that not only do they talk about cryptocurrency, but they actually teach courses. So those courses for the summer will be available soon. And then you have P2G Trading, Crypto Boomers, Fundraisers Freedom Friday, and more. So please make sure if you haven't heard Breakfast with the Thomases here on stereo, it's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Sorry. And that's 8 a.m. Eastern time. What I also wanted to talk about, and if you miss their morning talks, you can always okay, this is gonna drive me crazy. This is one of the things that I keep forgetting. You have to, in order to remove the mouse. And for those of you who are on stereo, I'm also on YouTube and Facebook, so I apologize. Here we go. What I also wanted to say for those of you who are not able to attend the 8 a.m. on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, to make sure that you can always go back to stereo app and go to the Breakfast with the Thomases. Um, Usually on stereo app, you won't be able to find it as Breakfast with the Thomases by title. You'll be able to find it by their names, or you can pick one of them. And one of them is Miss Ruby, and you can find that her talks there. And then you can either follow her or follow Alvin. And Miss Ruby, I believe, has an Aquarius crown on her avatar on stereo. So please make sure you do that. So that's one of the things that I enjoy about learning new things. And P2G Networks is helping the Salty Coffee podcast to move to the next level when it comes to retirement. One of the things that I'm trying to focus on is the information about the global economy. So this will help me to understand what's happening with the cryptocurrency in the United States, and what do I need to do to improve in learning how to ensure that I'm ahead of the game so that if I leave the United States and relocate, which is an option for people who are retiring or actually people who just want to leave, what are the other options available, and how I can successfully obtain the funds that are already invested and learn how to put that in cryptocurrency and learn the trading and the blockchain and all of that information that's right now just a blur for me. So that's one of the things that I love about the P2G networks because their curriculum is each one teach one, and they're not professional financial advisors, but they give you the resources and the tools of where to find the information, teach you how to math the information so that you can move forward and then you can seek professional advice to then do what you need to do in your investment portfolios. So, one of the things going back to retirement, so there's AARP. AARP, it's usually when younger people listen to AARP, they're like, oh, that's for old people. Not necessarily. Once you hit 45, you should register or join AARP so that you can get the magazine, which is sort of like a newspaper version, and you can register online so that you can see the articles and information about what's available as far as resources and links and benefits for people who are the age of 45 and older. And one of the what I'm researching now is where to relocate. Where are some of the people in the United States going to and why? And why should I do that? So here's an article that was written on April 24th, 2023. And it says from AARP, and it says 5 reasons to relocate in retirement. And it was written by I, Patrick J. Kigger. And they have it in Spanish too. So I will be sharing the link on the information, and then you can see it from there. So AARP states 5 reasons to relocate in retirement. Top states for retiree moves. These 10 states had the highest net migration of people 60 and older. So one of the things that I've learned in the past couple of months is that middle age is no longer 50 or 60. Middle age is now 30. So whenever you hear like it used to like kill me when I would hear models saying, "Oh, I'm 23 and I'm retired." And I'm thinking, "What? How are you retired 23?" Because basically modeling starts at maybe 12, to like 15, 19 the most. So when you hear them saying 23, and I think Naomi Campbell is like the only model that I know that has been modeling still at her age. But yeah, so please keep in mind that or do research about what is the age right now that you should be retiring. You should not have to wait till 62, especially with the way the environment is going, especially the foods that we eat in the United States, which are not healthy. And that's another, excuse me, that's another topic that I would like to get into about the food that we're eating, the medication, the health, the quality of life in the United States is just not what your body is going to take for another 40 years, especially if you're 50. You should really enjoy the fruits of your labor sooner. So if you're in your 30s and you have not started putting money aside for retirement, please do some research on where you can start with as little as $5 a day so that you can go ahead. Acorns is one thing that I started using 3 years ago, when it first came out, and it's it has great information and it's good. So because you can do one of those things that roundups. So when you go to the store and you spend $2.50, they will round it up to $3 and put the other 50 cents in the investment portfolio through your Acorn. So that's one way to do it. You can learn how to do Bitcoins through your Cash App. So that's another way of doing it. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you register for the financial courses through P2G, you will learn a little bit more what those things are now and start investing in yourself. So the top states for retiree moves, these 10 states had the highest net migration of people 60 and older. And I think that's why I got into that conversation, because one of the things that we need to learn is that you shouldn't wait until you're 60 to retire. It mentally right now, you should be looking at 55. I think that's the best age because you still be young enough to do whatever you want when it comes to work, and you'll still be able to really enjoy the next 20 years of your life, the rest of your life. You should really be doing that. The number moving into the state minus the number moving out in 2021, according to the latest Where Retirees Are Moving report from consumer finance website Smart Asset. So the number one state was Florida, net 60 plus migration, 78,174. I think this was in 2021, and I can honestly say that's probably a lot of New Yorkers who said, I'm retiring, I'm out, and I'm going to Florida because it's warm and it's closer and it's between, New York and the Caribbean islands. So it's like a central location for many people. And I really think that's where they get that number from. I'm speculating, but I would not go to Florida to retire. Not in 2025. That I would not be doing. Number 2 was Arizona with 25,090 people over 60 plus that went over. Number 3 is South Carolina with 19,400. Actually, let me just share it here on the screen. 19,004. So South Carolina and North Carolina, I can see that too. One of the things that I've heard is that South Carolina doesn't charge taxes. So there you go. That makes sense. I know that for a fact. And also, South Carolina and North Carolina, I would prefer North Carolina. So North Carolina is my top number one for places to relocate. Tennessee is number 5. Idaho is number 6. I would never move to Idaho. Never been there, never visited. Because as a 55-year-old, I would think that I would want to still be in a place that I can enjoy myself, and I won't have to drive everywhere. So that's one of the things that I'm looking for because I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking, okay, now I'm 85 and I'm really retired. So why do I have to drive? That's one of the things that I do not want to do. I don't want to have to drive everywhere. So another thing that I'm considering is making sure that I have enough land to raise my own food. That's definitely one thing that I want to do. And also considering water systems, natural water systems, so that I can use rainwater, cure it, and use the rainwater to do other things within the house and not have to pay the government or the cities any money to get water. I've been to Mississippi, and one of the things that I found strange was that there's a water truck that drives around, And this is how people buy their water. Like it's not in the system itself. I don't know. It's just weird. Number seven is Nevada. Number eight is Arkansas. Number nine is Maine. And I can see why Maine is up there. Um, I heard Maine is very beautiful. It's not as hot, and it would be like the perfect place for someone like myself who does not want to be in a warm climate. If I'm going to be in a warm climate, it has to be a place with beautiful beaches, and we're going to get into that. And number 10 is Texas. So it said five reasons to relocate, and those were just the top 10 states where people have relocated in 2021 who were 60 years plus. So the reason number one is lower housing costs. So just like I mentioned before, it seems like in North Carolina, um, it's tax free. They won't tax you or anything, which I don't know if that's still true, but I will have to again do some more research. But it says here, according to a study in February 2023 by Vanguard. So Vanguard is an option for you to invest in sort of like what we call a 401k. And the one that I have Vanguard and I also have TIAA CREF, which is the teachers union, the teachers retirement um, agency, I guess, if you want to call it that. 60% of retirees who move sell a home in a high price market and move to a cheaper locale. Okay. In the process, they typically pocket around 100,000 in home equity, which makes sense. So for instance, I've seen homes that I really like for me that are small because that's another thing. I don't want to buy a beautiful house, leaving from an apartment to a big house to then end up having to clean five bedrooms and oh, because of the grandkids. No, you have to think about your body and how it's going to change when you get older. So the objective here would be that if you're going to relocate when you retire, you buy a home that's no stairs, one floor, no basements, um, no stairs to get into the house. Um, just because you have to think about long term, right? You have to think about if you're gonna need a nurse to come over to take care of you later on. And those homes in the North Carolina and South Carolina, you can find a beautiful, nice home for $100,000 or $150,000. They may not be in a neighborhood that you would want it to be, but I think that's reasonable for especially for someone who's retiring from New York City. The second reason would be to relocate is a tax cut, and we spoke about that. For example, there's no tax income in Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. So it's no wonder Florida is a shitty place to live in right now because you're pretty much on your own. So if there's no state income tax in Florida when you retire, that means that you're on your own. So if there's a flood or if there's anything that happens to your house, your beautiful house that you work so hard to maintain, um, they're gonna look at you like you're on your own. This is the way I see it. I don't know if it's true, but that's just not a place. Alaska is beautiful. However, Alaska is very expensive, so I can see why there's no state income tax there. So even though these states, Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming, which means no tax on retirement income, such as pensions, Social Security, and IRA 401k withdrawals. New Hampshire does tax dividends and interest upon which many retirees rely on. Number three is getting close to family. According to June 2022 report from the Trans-America Center of Retirement Studies, 53% of workers view spending more time with family and friends is a major retirement goal. And I believe that. I believe that you probably have the time to spend more with your family during this time. And that's, again, why I believe that you should do that at an earlier age and leave as early as you can before they kill you at your job. Number four is better weather. So, a person from like New York, like myself, I do not like the warm weather. Again, if I do have to pick a place, I would not pick Florida because I've been to Florida. It's very hot, and it's just hot. I would do something like North Carolina. Again, North Carolina is my number one choice, and I do have friends and family who live there, so that would be an option for me. Let's see. It says, not surprisingly, a new analysis of U.S. Census data by personal finance website Smart Asset found that five Sunbelt states in order: Florida, Arizona, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee had the biggest influx of people 60 and older because of the better weather. Arizona has great weather for those who suffer from asthma. However, the dry heat can really kill you if you live in Phoenix during the summertime. So it's good that they don't have income tax in Arizona. Was that one of the ones in Arizona? Because I'm thinking utility costs, right? Me at 55 with my pension plan, would I be able to afford the utility costs? And number five, a lifestyle reboot. Starting fresh in a new locale can help you reevaluate your life and make changes, or simply jettison parts of your existence that you don't really need and keep what makes you happy. So, the next topic that we're going to discuss now is the best places to move, the world's best places to retire in 2023. And I thought about this really hard because with the changes of the economy, I think it's important for us to understand what does that mean. Um, so if you were not able to invest what you would need to get paid where you're currently living at, and it's just not enough, this is one of the best options because you can now live in another country and you'll be able to live comfortable, even more comfortable in another country because you won't have to worry about taxes as much as you do here in the United States. And you will be in a place where the environment, the quality of life may be much better. So this is a article from the International Living. It was written on January 1st, 2023. It doesn't say who did the research just yet, so but it is internationalliving.com, and it is the world's best places to retire in 2023. Here it says, what is the annual global retirement index? The retirement index is the most comprehensive and the in-depth survey of its kind. It's the best way we know of to sift through the wealth of opportunity the world offers, bring some order, and help you pinpoint the best destination for you. So they did this in reverse. So it's from number 10 to number one. So number 10 is Colombia. Colombia is one of the best, top 10, I guess, world places to retire in 2023. And this one was written by Erin Donaldson. And I'm just going to go over the countries and pretty much give my feedback for a little bit of each. So I've not heard anyone wanting to retire in Colombia, and I've not heard anyone who's visited Colombia. But the photo that they show here looks very city-like, very urban, so I can see how people would put this on the list. Number 9 is Thailand. And I've heard of people visiting Thailand. I've heard of people enjoying Thailand. I haven't heard of anyone considering to move there and retire. What I have heard is people going to Thailand to marry people to bring them to the United States. But I've never heard of someone actually from the United States moving to Thailand to retire. We are on Facebook and YouTube and on stereo. So I'm going to take a break right now to play a message. Hmm. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Hawaii. One of the things that I noticed about Hawaii is why it probably was not on the list is because it's extremely expensive. So you have to remember that retirees don't really make that much, and people who did not invest and solely depend on Social Security may not be able to afford to stay comfortably in Hawaii. So, but thank you. And Canada, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's too cold for some people. But number 9 is Thailand on this list. No, I'm sorry, number 10 was Thailand. Number 9 is Italy. I did not know that Italy would have been one of the best places in the world to retire, but I have never met anyone who's visited Italy. I've never met anyone who's spoken about retiring in Italy. But again, this article is located in internationalliving.com, the best places to retire in the world for 2023. Number 8 is France. And I have to say this, France, I've been to Paris, and I would not retire in Paris, but I will consider retiring in somewhere in France that's not close to Paris. And I think Paris is no different than New York. It's an old city, everything's old, everything is expensive, and it's not kind of my, something that I would want to do for the rest of my life. No. So, okay. Good for them. Number 7 is Greece. Now, I do know people who have lived in Greece. I do know people who are originally from Greece and they refuse to go back, more so because of what was happening in the economy there before COVID. Like a little bit before COVID, they had a quite an amazing uh, drop down on their economy. I know a lot of people left Greece, but number 7 is Greece. And I have to say, it's a beautiful place. And I'm assuming that in 2023 is maybe on the list as number 7 because they're now the global economy has changed a lot. Number 6 is Spain. Me personally, I have no interest in visiting Spain at all. Um, the picture that they posted here is beautiful, but I'm not interested at all in Spain to move there. But I'll give you a little bit of what they wrote about Spain. The cost of living in Spain has increased in the past year and continues to be relatively low. Depending on the location in Spain, can either be one of the cheapest or priciest locations on the Mediterranean as of 2022. You can live very comfortably on roughly 2,000 to 2,500 a month or about 28,000 a year. So think about that. If your retirement plan, when you retire and you're going to get, let's say, 50,000 or $75,000 a year, this is amazing. To have to live with 28,000 a year, that's amazing. As with every other country on earth, the price tag depends on the location, and that is the truth. The closer to the capital and the famous destinations, the more expensive. If you choose quieter small town retirement, you can live on 1,900 a month, which totals about 23,000 a year. Number 5 is Costa Rica. So I do know people that have retired to Costa Rica and they love it there. It's very affordable. It's some place where they really have engaged with communities and they're very inclusive. So I like that about Costa Rica. If anything, if I had to consider doing that, I would do it. Let's see what they say here. Foreigners continue to arrive in waves. Over 10% of the million plus inhabitants are expats to find their own mode of magic in Costa Rica. So Costa Rica looks like it's doing its thing. Number 4 is Ecuador. And I have no idea why it's number 4. I know a lot of Ecuadorians that look at me like, Ecuador, no. Ecuador is not a place for you to retire, and I don't know why. And they're from there, from that country. And I think it would be no different than someone from Dominican Republic, like myself, where my parents were from there, and would be like, nah, I'm not doing, I'm not gonna do Dominican Republic to retire. But things have changed post COVID. So I think it's very important for us to do that. So for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to play some messages from Stereo app. Hello, Black Casper. Hello, Dove and French Chibel. How are you? Really? Yeah, no, I've been to Japan and you do not want to retire in Japan. You want to go visit and, explore, but I don't really think it's a sort of kind of very depressing and heavily workload place. Like that the energy there is all work and really no play. The only play you'll have is when you're on vacation and you're visiting as a tourist. So I would not recommend that. But Switzerland it is. But really do, and that's one of the things that I was talking about earlier. You really need to enjoy your life while you're working. Do not wait until you're retired to do all of these things. Like you really need to live and explore life while you're still young. One of the things that I noticed in all the years that I have traveled, um, where when I've traveled to certain, like when I went to Alaska, there were people on wheelchairs, there were people on, like old, and they couldn't really move and do certain things. And I'm like, I'm over here like skydiving at 50 and, zip lining at 50, and gold panning at 50 in Alaska cruise. And I see these people who are just like retired, and I mean, I don't know. To each his own, but please, I encourage you that if you're still young, enjoy that life while you're able and physically to do so. And one of the things that I also mentioned earlier was that you're going to your body is going to change beginning at 50 to the point where you're not going to be able to think and do things the way you did in your 20s and your 30s. So please enjoy as much as you can. Focus on saving not only to invest for your retirement, but put a little bit to the side to enjoy while you're working a wage. Because I think a lot we lose it. We lose it on focusing on our families, on there's nothing wrong with putting some money to the side to do a trip with the family and to do a trip for yourself. You really need to do that. And in the 33 years that I've had working, I was able to do that because I always paid myself first for my retirement, and then managed to learn ways of how to travel without spending too much and within a budget. And I think that's important. We're not taught these things, and we're not able to do a lot of things, and we should not wait until we retire or our children are in college to do these things. Mhm. I know. Pura vida is right. Hey, Dub, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. Earlier in the talk, I spoke about the states, which from AARP article, which states 5 reasons why you should relocate and retire. I don't know why Florida was number one still, but hey, it is what it is.
Coffee. What's up, my brother, my big bro, Dub? How you doing, bro? Happy Thursday again. I'm out here in Ohio. Me out here until tomorrow. What's up, Frenchie? Beautiful Billy. How you doing? Just Black Cats for the war. Respect each other, man. I'm just out here in Ohio waiting to get unloaded tomorrow. And I'll be headed somewhere. I don't know where exactly, but just listen in. I'll be stopping somewhere. Y'all hear me somewhere on there, leaving a message. But y'all made it this Thursday. Y'all have a wonderful Friday. And definitely be listening. Much love. Saudi Coffee. Dude, French Bella. Anybody else down there, have a wonderful Thursday. Be positive only. Control your energy. Respect each other. Understand each other. And listen to each other. I'm out of here, though. Have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed Thursday night. Like Casper War. Respect each other.
Hey, Black Casper. It's Thursday. So that's one of the things that I love about Black Casper. Um, Very energetic, very positive, and that's one of the things that I've learned from you, my Aquarian brother. But thank you for sharing that. And I think some of the times, as Aquarians, I don't know the plural for it. I think we are on point when it comes to thinking ahead, right? So you're just like Miss Ruby, myself, and we're alike. We think alike. We're always calm, but we're always thinking about the future, and we are strategic enough in our life to understand what works best for us, right? And a lot of people will misinterpret our kindness, our message, and our purpose, and they just don't get it. And that's okay. Cuz we're going to continue doing what we do to support ourselves first and then to help others. So I appreciate that every time you leave a message, your message comes through with a purpose. Ignite the mic. How are you on YouTube? I'm sorry, you probably left already, but I'm glad that you're also retiring early, just like myself. So that's awesome.
Never came from like a traveling kind of family. Like that was a luxury type of thing because, I had my grandma grew up really poor and my mom was the youngest of six and they didn't really have a whole lot of money to travel either. And so like going to the lake was probably the most that they ever did. And doing like sports stuff like locally. But like it wasn't until, everybody like left the house and my grandma was finally an empty nester that she actually really started like living her life with, her husband, my grandpa, up until 99 and when he passed away. And they would travel everywhere. And the place that they would always go for their anniversary was Jamaica because she says she absolutely loved it down there and that's the only place that she can go to with my grandpa. And she hasn't been back since then, since he passed away. Like bless her heart.
Jamaica, Bahamas. Ooh, I wanna take you. That's awesome. But see, that's one of the things that my mom used to take me to her country every year, 3 times a year. So that was my experience of traveling. Just um not domestic. I've only been as a kid, I only went to Florida when I was 10. So I wasn't really also we didn't have money like that to engage in traveling, but watching my mom save money to do this trip 3 times a year to back to her country, because what people need to understand also about immigrants is that they are in when they leave their family, right, behind, their mental state is that they're now responsible for making sure that the future generational family within that household is taken care of. Unfortunately, sometimes when they overwork themselves, which is like what my mom did, they'll pass away before. My mom passed away when she was 52. So I think it's important for everyone to understand that, those people who come here to this country and migrate, they work their ass off, not just for themselves, but for their family that they left behind. And I think one of the things that we also should learn as first generation is that we need to take care of ourselves first. Because if we don't take care of ourselves first, you'll be working all your life and then it's over, right?
Hey, saw the coffee. Dub, anybody else down there that's listening? Frenchie. I want to get into some silver and gold. It's a couple thousand for, I deal with just silver and gold. I've got a couple gold things with them. You want the information? I got that info. If you want some gold and silver, it's a couple thousand though, but it's real gold. But just get with me and I'll give you the info. Much love, Black Cat.
So for those of you on YouTube and Facebook, Black Casper was offering his information about silver and gold. So Ecuador was number 4, Panama was number 3, and this one was by Jessica Ramish. I'm still pinching myself. I moved to the beach hub of Coronado in March of last year, and every time I step onto my balcony, the same thought comes to mind. Is this really my life? So Panama, they speak English, so it's not a problem. Um, and she also wrote, I'm not new to Panama. In 2005, I had reached the end of my rope. I'd been working 70 plus hours a week. Wow. For 4 years. I knew I didn't want to do it anymore. It was a dream job. I lived on cruise ships and traveled around the world, visiting the most beautiful islands and beaches known to humankind. I fell in love to St. Petersburg and Martinique. and a dozen of other places. But when the time came to choose a home, I chose Panama. Number two is Mexico, and that's not too far. Let's see. And this one was by Wendy Justice. Although I've been living overseas since 2005, Mexico is relatively new country for me. It's been my adopted home since mid 2021. Before moving to Mexico, I live in Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam. I'm currently living in Santiago de Querétaro, Querétaro, a city in the heart of the Central Highlands. And they show a picture there and it's beautiful. I was watching a show on Netflix the other day. I think it's called The Imposters. And at one point they leave to Mexico and one of the imposters, people ended up staying in Mexico. And I think maybe Wendy Justice is right. So again, for those of you on Stereo app, this is coming from internationalliving.com, the best places to retire. And number one is Portugal. And I believe it because I've heard stories that Portugal is beautiful, is affordable, and it's a long flight, but it is worth it. And one of the things, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of people who would not move or relocate to a place where they originally are from. So I do know someone who is married to someone from Portugal, but that person refuses to go back. And I'm like, wow, isn't this crazy? And then this article was by Terry Coles. So, why is Portugal one of the most popular retirement destinations on the planet? Despite its compact size, the country offers something for everyone, from vibrant cities like Lisbon and Porto, with bustling nightlife, culture, history, and culinary delights, the coastal havens along the Atlantic Ocean, where camel colored sand meets the turquoise water embellished with jagged rocks formations, caves, and grottos. I don't know what that is. For a simpler life, head inland, where medieval villages of stone cottage lie beneath ruined castles and emerald rolling hills of farmland dominate the stunning vistas beyond. And that's number one. So aside from that, they also have International Living's 2023 Global Retirement Index by numbers. So I encourage you all, for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, you can actually see the chart. But for those of you who are in Stereo app, go into the internationalliving.com, the best places to retire on the website. And it says Portugal, Mexico, Panama, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Spain, Greece, France, Italy, Thailand, Colombia. Those are the ones we spoke about that were the top 10, right? And in addition to those, they have Uruguay, Malta, Ireland, which is one of the ones that the young lady who was on Stereo app spoke about, Roatan, and Belize. I've been to Belize, and Belize is beautiful. And they speak English, which is beautiful. And it's just the beaches there are just so clean and the people are very hospitable. It's a very nice place and tranquil and calm and very slow and affordable. So I think that's another place to consider. So my top um state to relocate would be North Carolina. And my top country right now would be Portugal and, quite frankly, Dominican Republic, believe it or not. So those are the things that I'm working on. And again, if you want to understand what retirement means, we even if you're 20 years old, I urge you to start thinking about your future. It doesn't matter if you have children or not. You should be thinking about retirement because retirement age will be, it has to get lowered. It cannot be 62 and 67, especially with the food that we're eating in the United States and the quality of life that we don't have here in the United States. It's just not going to happen. And if you're, even if you're doing everything you need to do to live a better, healthier life, it's just, you just never know when you're going to just, it's going to be over. So you want to make sure that you start investing now, that by the time you're 45, you should be able to retire comfortably to enjoy the next 20 years of your life. So I started when I was 20 and I'm out at 55. And I think my what I'm doing now is doing research on how to do cryptocurrency, how to do my own trading so that I still leave comfortably, but I want to know how to remove it all from one place and put it into another place. And I think we should all be thinking ahead. Again, p2gnetworks.com courses will begin in July. One of the courses that I will be conducting within the P2G networks is the digital design through Canva, and a little bit more about how to do your flyers, what it should say, what it shouldn't say, what it should have, and a little bit more detail into your branding. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm not a hired HR person or financial advisor. I'm just sharing with everyone the things that I've been doing for 33 years in the place of my employment, along with my finances and portfolio. And Black Casper has shared here on Stereo app for those who want information about how to obtain gold and silver. Reach out to him, follow him on, his name is Black Casper on there. And the P2G Networks has a podcast on Stereo app, Breakfast with the Thomases, every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. If you're not able to um, visit them during their live, I encourage you to just go to the Stereo app, download it on your iPhone or Android, and type in Miss Ruby and look for the Breakfast with the Thomases talks from her site. And they don't have the courses for the summer yet up, but feel free to go ahead and sign in. P2, the number 2, G Networks. P2G means penny to gold, networks.com. And on their website, there are two links. The first one is for you to visit the P2G Meta office, which is in the metaverse. And the other one is to visit the room, which is another space for metaverse, with the courses and the time that you'll be doing it. This will be upgraded to a new site, and they're working on it this weekend so that you'll have the registration. But feel free to sign up, leave your email there with them, or you can visit www.saltycoffeepodcast.com where you will see all of the information. Here's the Salty Coffee page. Here are all the links for all the social media. Here is the Metaverse Spatial IO for Salty Coffee meditation space. You go in there and you can just go ahead and relax for 3 minutes. The other room is when I do the podcasting. On the same page on my website, you'll see all of the podcast episodes. The last one was created 2 days ago. Congratulations, class of 2023. And what the message there was, my experience of working at a university for 33 years and experiencing all of the commencements before COVID, before September 11. And could you imagine 3 decades of commencements? That's amazing. And how it's changed and what does that mean? And all of the conversations throughout the speakers in all of the commencements, they did mention AI and how it's changing the world. But in the scheme of all things, we still need humans. We are still connected. We need each other. We need each other to learn and we need each other to support each other. So, even though AI is a thing, there's nothing better than hugging a human being and feeling the warmth of their body and the skin. I have to tell you that as a 53-year-old. Forget what they say out there. So, yeah. Hey, Leon, how are you? What's going on? If you have any suggestions, Leon, and if you have any recommendations as far as retirement, please feel free to share. I will be doing some interviews with people who have already retired and ask questions to them, and I'll bring up. But I am so ready. 2025 is my year, and I'm excited. So I just spoke about the best places to relocate over the world and the top places to relocate within the United States. And my top one right now is North Carolina and Portugal and Dominican Republic, believe it or not. So I was doing some research and didn't even know this, but if you have parents who are Dominican, you're automatically able to get your citizenship. Oh God, here we go. Here we go. Give me 1 second. For those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, we just had a little thing here happening with someone sending inappropriate messages. What else is new in stereo world? But yeah, so feel free to stop, come by again. I am excited about everything that's happening. And once again, I'm going to announce this. P2G Networks is each one teach one motto. And I will be giving courses there with digital design, how to, brighten up your branding or doing something different and just teaching you the tools and the resources where you can find these platforms where you can do that. Um, the message today was about retirement, and that's what I'm focusing on now. Doing a lot of research, getting my funds together is nothing more beautiful than watching your portfolio and you're like, I knew it was gonna get back on track. But when you really get down when you see the money go down, right? But when that shit goes up, man, and it's like they say, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. So for 33 years, that's an amazing accomplishment. And I encourage you that if that's something that you're doing, that you teach the young generation and show them, guide them. um, I was fortunate enough that 33 years ago, I did have mentors. This is what happened in the workplace back then. Now you just have haters, right? And how she get this job? Oh, because she knows somebody who knows somebody. But back then you really had to earn your way in to places. And that's what I really respect about Generation X and the millennial and the baby boomers because it was serious stuff. It wasn't about who you knew. It was about, you know, getting in by merit. So I want to thank everyone who stopped by on Facebook. I want to thank those who stopped by on Stereo. Please make sure that you encourage your family members, your children, teach them young, especially now where we know the economy is changing and we know what it's all about. And if we have to relocate to another country, why not? Shit. Let's do it. I think it's amazing that we are able to do that. And I think it's amazing even more that if you are from a Caribbean island or your parents were from Caribbean island, that you have the opportunity to actually go back there, you know? And if your birth certificate says that your parents were born there, you're automatically a citizen, a national citizen. So I think that's amazing. And one of the things that I do understand and know now is that you can have dual citizenship in Dominican Republic, which is something that you couldn't do back then. One of the reasons why my mom never became a citizen here was because if you became a citizen in the United States, you had to relinquish your citizenship in your country, and that's no longer the case. You no longer have to relinquish your citizenship in one country to join the other. So dual citizenship it is. And I think that's where we're going. It's like, what does Oprah do? You know, she has a mansion here, a mansion there. Like, what's her main address? A P.O. box? Like, come on. So, we have to think big too. We shouldn't think like that. Another course that the P2G networks provide is the status correction course. And that's going to be an amazing thing for those who own homes or own property or own land. You really learn what that means by going to them. Again, Breakfast with the Thomases on Stereo app Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time. And I think it's amazing conversations. You should come. And if you're not able to come in at 8 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I strongly suggest that you go into Stereo to Miss Ruby or Alvin and look at their talks and their message. Black Casper is there as well. You can go follow Black Casper, look at his talks, and it's there now. It's an amazing world we're living in. I am so happy and proud that I have met such great people here on Stereo and continue to share what I'm doing. Not a lot of it, but I am excited. I'm in a health um, phase right now, where I've cut down on one of the goals for preparing for retirement is to make sure that I leave this country without having to use I'm not using any medication and I don't have any chronic diseases or anything like that. But one of my biggest priority right now is to make sure that my health um, I'm on track with my health because one of the things that I've noticed, if I stay in the United States, I may not live to 70. Between what the food we eat, where it's coming from, it's just not happening. So I'm learning agriculture to, of course, eventually build my own farm and have my own, grow my own food. I'm learning how to cure water where if it comes from a river, how to cure it so it's usable and not have to purchase anything or have anything come from a pipe. I'm learning how to hunt for real fresh meat and probably not even meat because I haven't had meat. I did a challenge where I had no meat, no sugar, no alcohol, no anything, just fresh fruits and vegetables for 1 month now, and I've lost 10 pounds. So those are my goals and those are my priorities right now. My priority is to really work hard on retiring early, but retiring with a good health plan. Meaning, if I go to another country, I would just have to be knowledgeable and do enough research about the health and the quality of life within that country or even state, right? There's doesn't seem to be a high cancer rate of people from North Carolina. So North Carolina has I mean, I've done plenty of research already, and that's the place where I feel I would fit best. So I would retire with a home in another country and one here. So I think I'm done talking for tonight. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's been a pleasure, Leon. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm assuming that you are also busy taking care of your family and doing stuff because for those of you who are young or have young students still in school, I encourage you to please have the conversation about financial literacy. What does that look like? And why it's important for us to diversify, to really grow into understanding how our system here in the United States works and what's going to work for us in the next 20 years. So, again, I will be back. You know where to find me www.saltycoffeepodcast.com. That website is going to be forever here with resources. If you need some time to talk or just 3 minutes of meditation, feel free to come and visit my spatial metaverse, which would be if you are watching now on YouTube and Facebook, you'll see it there. For those of you on Stereo app, if you go to Spatial IO, just go in and type in um, full space. It's a waterfall space, and pretty much what that looks like will be my home in another country. This is my plan. So have a good night, everyone. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much again. And if you have any questions, or if you want to follow each other so that you know what each other is doing, feel free to do so. And I encourage you to do so. Have a good night. For those of you still on Facebook and YouTube, here's a picture of me in 1990 when I first started working there. And this is me now in 2023. And 2025 is the plan date. So I encourage you to each one, teach one, and make sure that you are happy with yourself and that you maintain your health. And please, whatever you do, take care of yourself. Plan ahead, sit down, write everything down. I don't care what it is. Your work will always be there, but so will your family. And your family needs you. And you really need to take time to focus on the future. At least for, doesn't have to be like us obsessive about it. It just happens, right? Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. And I'll see you soon.